Have you ever sat alone in the quiet of your home, only to find that your mind isn't so quiet at all? Maybe your body is still, but your thoughts are not. One moment, you're remembering something from years ago, maybe a mistake, maybe a joyful memory. The next, you're worrying about a doctor's appointment or how your children are doing. You may even find yourself arguing in your head with someone who isn't even in the room. It feels as if your mind has a life of its own, constantly talking, replaying, planning, fearing, and sometimes you pause and wonder, why does it feel like I'm not in control of my own mind anymore? If this has ever happened to you, you're not alone. In fact, what you're experiencing is something many people feel as they grow older. After 60, life begins to slow down on the outside, but strangely, it can feel like things are speeding up inside. The distractions of work and raising children may fade, but the voice in your head gets louder. It's always thinking, always remembering, always anticipating. And in those moments, when you're no longer busy, you begin to notice that you are not as peaceful as you hoped retirement would be. Here's a thought that might surprise you. What if your mind is not you? That may sound strange at first. After all, we've spent our whole lives believing that what we think is who we are. But Buddhist teachings offer a different, much gentler perspective, one that can bring a deep sense of peace, especially as we age and seek clarity in our days. According to the Buddha, our thoughts are not our true selves. They are passing, ever-changing, like clouds in the sky. They come and go, but the sky remains. You, dear friend, are the sky. Your thoughts are just the weather. In this video, I'd like to gently guide you through that idea. Together, we'll explore what it means to see the mind not as your identity, but as a tool. We'll talk about why this insight matters, especially for those of us in the later stages of life. And most importantly, I'll share a few practical, simple ways you can begin to feel more calm and centered, starting today. Because once you understand this one truth that you are not your thoughts, you'll begin to feel a freedom you may not have felt in years. Let's begin with the first idea. Your mind is like a river. All day long, it flows with thoughts, some soft, some sharp, some joyful, some painful. You don't need to jump into that river. You don't need to grab at every thought that passes, but that's what we often do. A memory floats by, and we grab it. A worry floats by, and we cling to it. Suddenly, we're swept by the current, drowning in thoughts we didn't choose. Buddhism teaches us that instead of jumping into the river, we can sit on the bank. We can watch the water flow. We can simply observe the thoughts as they pass, without becoming them. This practice is called mindfulness, And it's something anyone can do, at any age, in any moment. Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, drinking your morning tea. A thought comes. I should call my daughter. Then another. She hasn't called me in a while. And another. Maybe she's too busy for me. Before long, you're not drinking tea anymore. You're caught in a storm of loneliness and doubt. But what if, instead, you noticed the first thought, smiled gently, and let it pass? What if you stayed with the warmth of the cup in your hands, the steam rising, the quiet of the morning? That is the power of presence. That is the beginning of freedom. Here's another truth that Buddhism offers: your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't make it true. Your mind might say, I'm too old to change, or no one understands me anymore. But is that really true? Or is it just a thought? A pattern that has repeated so many times, it feels real. When you begin to see thoughts as visitors, not truths, you begin to take back your peace. You begin to choose what to believe and what to release. I remember a story shared by a Buddhist teacher about an elderly woman who had suffered from anxiety her whole life. She believed that her anxious thoughts were part of her personality, but in her 70s, she began to meditate. Slowly, she saw that the thoughts were not her. They were habits, old patterns, like grooves in a record. And she discovered something astonishing. She could pause. She could breathe. She could choose not to follow the anxious thoughts. Over time, her life didn't change dramatically, but her experience of life did. She became softer, calmer, and more at peace with herself. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds good, but I've been thinking this way for decades. Can I really change now? And the answer, with all my heart, is yes. You can begin again at any moment. Age is not a barrier to wisdom. In fact, the later years of life are the perfect time for this kind of insight. You've lived. You've seen the world. You've known joy and sorrow. And now, you're ready to sit quietly and watch the river flow, not to fight it, but to understand it. Not to silence it, but to gently let it pass. In the next part of our conversation, we'll continue this journey by exploring more ways to bring this wisdom into your everyday life. We'll talk about how to stay present when old thoughts arise, how to respond to emotions without being overwhelmed, and how to find moments of peace even in the most ordinary of days. When we begin to understand that our thoughts are not who we are, something inside us shifts. It's not always dramatic, but it's real. It might feel like a small crack of light in a dark room, or a quiet exhale after holding your breath for too long. And from that moment on, we're no longer trying to silence the mind. We're simply learning to stop following it so blindly. That's where real peace begins to grow. You might wonder, how do I do this in real life? It sounds nice to say, observe your thoughts. But what does that actually look like when you're going about your day? Paying bills, cooking meals, worrying about your health or your family. It begins with awareness. And awareness doesn't mean you have to sit cross-legged for hours. It simply means pausing. Just long enough to recognize what's happening in your mind before reacting to it. Let's say someone says something that hurts you. Maybe a friend forgets your birthday, or your child seems too busy to talk. The old habit might be to feel rejected, unimportant, even angry. Your mind starts building a story. They don't care. I'm not needed anymore. But if you pause, take a breath, and notice the first thought as it appears, something changes. You might hear it and say, here's that old story again. You watch it. You don't push it away, but you don't feed it either. And in doing that, you're no longer its prisoner. You are its witness. This practice of gentle observation can be done anywhere while you're washing dishes, taking a walk, or even waiting at the doctor's office. You don't need special training. You just need curiosity and kindness. Imagine your mind is a small child tugging at your sleeve all day long. Look at this. Think about that. Worry about this. Instead of scolding the child, you can smile, kneel down, and say, I see you. I hear you. But let's be quiet now. That kindness toward your own mind is powerful. It softens you. It allows you to rest. And rest is something many of us forget how to do. Not just lying down or taking naps, but truly resting mentally, emotionally, spiritually. True rest comes when we stop wrestling with our own minds. Buddhism doesn't promise to erase all of life's problems. What it offers is a shift in how we relate to them. A shift from fighting to flowing, from clinging to releasing, from trying to control everything to trusting the present moment. One beautiful way to begin living this truth is to practice mindfulness in simple, ordinary tasks. When you brush your teeth, just brush your teeth. When you eat a meal, eat slowly and really taste your food. When you talk to a loved one, look them in the eye and listen fully. These are not just chores or conversations. They are opportunities to return home to yourself, to the quiet, aware presence that has always been there underneath the noise. I once knew a woman named Clara in her late 70s who told me something that stayed with me. She said, I spent most of my life being 2 steps ahead of everything, planning dinner while eating lunch, thinking about tomorrow while trying to sleep. I didn't realize I was missing the only thing that was real the moment I was in. After learning about mindfulness, She started practicing just 5 minutes a day, sitting on her porch, listening to the birds, feeling the breeze on her face. It saved me. She said, not because my life changed, but because I did. This is the kind of transformation that doesn't need fanfare. It doesn't need you to become a different person. In fact, it invites you to stop trying to be anyone at all and simply be. And being is enough. You don't have to prove your worth through productivity or perfection. You are valuable just by existing, just by breathing, just by watching your thoughts instead of being swallowed by them. Sometimes we carry thoughts around like heavy luggage, old guilt, past arguments, missed opportunities. And the more we replay them, the heavier they feel. But what if you could set one of those bags down today? What if you didn't need to carry that one memory anymore? What if you could say, this thought has visited me many times, but today I choose to let it pass. That's what awareness gives you, the power to choose peace again and again. And of course, there will be days when the mind is loud and the thoughts feel sticky. You'll get caught in them. You'll forget to pause. That's okay. Be gentle with yourself. This is not a race. It's not about being perfect. It's about remembering again and again that you are not your mind. You are the space in which the mind moves, the sky, not the cloud, the witness, not the noise. The more you practice this, the more spacious your life becomes, not necessarily in your schedule, but in your heart. You begin to feel less rushed, less reactive, less burdened by what you cannot control. You begin to notice the small things again, the color of the trees outside, the feeling of water on your skin, the sound of your own laughter. And in those moments, you return to who you really are, not the roles you've played, not the thoughts you've believed, but the quiet, steady presence underneath it all. In the next part of this journey, we'll take what we've learned and apply it even more deeply. We'll talk about how to release our attachment to identity, how to come back to the present when old emotions arise, and how to live with a peaceful heart, even when the world feels uncertain. But for now, I invite you to take one breath, just one. Inhale slowly and exhale fully. You're doing beautifully. Let's continue. As we move deeper into this reflection, there's one more gentle truth I'd like to share, one that may take time to fully embrace. But once you do, it can change the way you live every single day. You are not who you think you are. The labels you've carried, the roles you've played, even the stories you've told yourself for decades, those are not your true self. Buddhism invites us to see beyond the surface, beyond the thoughts and emotions, beyond success and failure. Who are you without all of that? Who are you when the thoughts grow quiet? That space, that stillness, that is who you truly are. You see, we spend most of our lives building an identity. I'm a mother. I was a teacher. I'm someone who always puts others first. These labels are not wrong. They help us make sense of our place in the world. But they're not the full truth. Because one day, the children grow up, the job ends, the routines shift. And if we believe our worth is tied to those identities, we may begin to feel lost. That's why this teaching matters so deeply for those of us over 60. It offers a new kind of freedom, the chance to rest in who you are without needing to be anyone at all. Think of the sky again. The sky doesn't stop being the sky. When the sun sets or the storm comes, it remains, quietly holding it all. You are like that. You are the awareness that has seen many roles, many seasons. You are not the drama of life, but the one who has witnessed it all silently, patiently, lovingly. So how do we return to that awareness when life feels noisy or uncertain? One way is through the breath. Yes, something as simple as breathing. Not just doing it automatically, but becoming aware of it. When you focus on your breath, even for just a minute, your attention is no longer in the past or future. It is here, and here is where peace lives. Next time you feel anxious or overwhelmed, try this place, your hand gently on your chest. Close your eyes and follow 3 slow, deep breaths. Let each breath remind you, I am not my thoughts. I am here. I am safe. Another way to reconnect with who you really are is to be present with whatever you are doing, no matter how ordinary it may seem. If you're folding laundry, notice the texture of the fabric. If you're watering plants, feel the coolness of the water in your hand. If you're drinking tea, really taste it. These small acts, when done with full awareness, become sacred. They bring you back to your center. There's an old Zen saying before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The tasks don't change. Life doesn't suddenly become dramatic or grand. What changes is how present you are in each moment. And when you are fully present, you are free. You're not chasing thoughts or clinging to regrets. You are simply here, breathing, alive. Sometimes we think peace has to come in big moments on a retreat, in a temple, during a perfect day. But peace lives in the ordinary. It lives in the gentle light through your window, the sound of birds outside, the smile of someone who sees you, and it lives in your own quiet decision to stop fighting your thoughts and start watching them instead. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, Richard, lost his wife after 40 years of marriage. In the months after, he was overwhelmed with grief and loneliness. His mind constantly replayed memories of her, mixed with guilt, sadness, and longing. I couldn't stop thinking. He said, "It was like I was haunted, but slowly, through quiet sitting and gentle guidance, He began to shift. He still missed her, deeply. But he no longer chased the memories. He watched them, allowed them to rise and fall like waves. One day, he told me, "I still feel sadness, but now I'm not drowning in it. I'm standing on the shore, watching the tide come and go." That, to me, is the essence of this teaching. And now, as we come toward the close of our time together, I want to encourage you to carry this wisdom into your daily life, not as something to memorize, but as something to feel. Remember, you are not your mind. You are not your mistakes. You are not your fears. You are the calm, kind awareness that has always been there, quietly observing. And no matter what comes, that awareness cannot be taken from you. It cannot be broken. It cannot grow old. It simply is. So if there's one step you take today, let it be this. The next time a strong emotion arises, whether it's worry, regret, anger, or sadness, pause, breathe, and instead of saying "I'm angry," say, "Anger is present." That small shift creates space. And in that space, peace enters. You don't have to change your life overnight. You don't have to meditate for hours. Just one small change. Each day, one breath, one mindful moment, one act of letting go. That is more than enough. And if this message has touched something in you, I hope you'll share it. Leave a comment. Tell us what resonated with you, or how you've dealt with the noise of the mind. Your story may be the one that helps someone else find their peace. If this video brought you comfort or clarity, please take a moment to like it and subscribe to the channel. Here, we're building a quiet space, a gentle community where wisdom can flow like water and hearts can rest. You are always welcome here. May your days be filled with ease. May your heart be light. And may you always remember, you are not the storm, you are the sky